Hi, welcome to another episode of Vivid Aquariums TV. I'm Dave, and today I'm going to talk to you about anemones, how to look for signs to make sure they're healthy, and about how to take care of them. Got a bunch of them here in a bucket, and we're going to show you some in a tank. This is a long tentacle anemone, and you'll notice many tears on the foot of the anemone. This is a sign that an anemone is definitely hurting. They can recover from this. I would never ever recommend buying one like this. I would never ship one like this. But you definitely want to keep a very close eye on an anemone like this. Tears in the foot is something that definitely want to look for. The mouth on it still looks good. It's nice and closed and tight. We'll look at a few more here. This is a healthy, nice bubble tip anemone. The mouth is not gaping open, it's closed. The foot has some sand on it from where it was attached to the rock, but actually no tears, nice and clean. So that's a good, healthy bubble tip anemone. This here is another long tentacle anemone. You'll see that the base is nice and clean, just a little sand on it, but no tears, no marks on it. On the other side, the mouth is nice and closed. Again, a great anemone, good and healthy. This is a sea bay anemone. See the mouth nice and closed, not gaping open. The foot, we don't see any tears on it. Just a little bit of sand. Again, a very nice, healthy anemone. Here we have a bubble tip anemone. It's closed up a little from being in the bucket, but the mouth on this one was actually gaping open. A little hard to see now, but you want to make sure the mouth is not gaping open. And here's what you want to prevent. This anemone is done. It needs to be removed from the tank, usually before it gets to this stage. But if you ever seen an anemone falling apart like that, definitely remove it from the aquarium. All it's going to do is create waste in the tank for you. And now I want to talk a little bit to you about buying anemones, placing them in the tank. Basically, when you put an anemone in the aquarium, they're going to move around some. Bubble tip anemones like to anchor on the rocks. Long tentacles and sea bays, carpets usually anchor in the sand. Let the anemone go where it will. You can put it in a tank where you want it to be, but know it's most likely it's going to move and end up somewhere else. What you need to be ready to do is just to move other corals out of the way of the anemone. If it anchors next to a coral, it's going to sting them, but it's not going to kill them instantly. You have a day or two to react, move the coral out of the way, the coral will heal back up. And the anemone, once they find a spot they like, they'll usually anchor and stay there for many years. I've had rows of anemones anchor in a tank for 2 and 3 years without moving, once they're happy. Another thing on anemone feeding, you want to feed them usually just once a week or so. Just use a piece of table shrimp or squid, piece of meaty food, just place it in the mouth. If they don't take it, they don't grab onto it, don't be overly concerned. But we generally only feed our anemones once a week. We like to give them good lighting. I mean, usually T5s, metal halides, or LEDs all work well for anemones. You want just good moderate to strong lighting. Again, moderate water movement. The anemone is going to move around the tank to kind of find the water flow that it likes. So don't be worried, too concerned about that. Just keep an eye on it. Look for signs. If you don't think it's happy, if it's all shriveled up, it's fine as long as it's not deteriorating and you don't see big tears on the foot. Like the last one I showed you where it's deteriorating and falling apart, that's an anemone that's dying you want to remove from the tank. If it's just shriveled up behind the rocks, it may be just adjusting to the aquarium. So relax, give it some time to come out. Another side note I'll mention, almost every few times we sell a bubble tip anemone, customers call, it went back behind the rocks, it disappeared, I don't know what happened to it. It's very common when you first introduce them to a tank for that bubble tip anemone to move behind the rocks while it acclimates to the lighting and flow of your tank. It will move back out on its own in most cases, so don't panic, just give it some time to acclimate. And I will say, as much as many people panic about anemones stinging and killing coral, it's not such a big deal as most people make it out to be. And nothing, I don't think anything, is more rewarding than having a beautiful anemone with clownfish in the aquarium. So don't be afraid, go for it, learn about it, and have a lot of fun with it.